Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. So, let's jump right back in. The sound of footsteps pulls me out of my thoughts. Who else is wandering the halls at this time of night? I am unable to restrain my curiosity, and the emotion soon drives me from my room and out into the hallway. I gingerly follow the faded footsteps down the hallway, and there I see two familiar people. Sir Mithros and Sir Alcaster. I grow impatient. 2 days is an insignificant amount of time when you've already waited so long. I've been waiting years. The princess is safe and will continue to be safe just as you have required. Our agreement was clear, Sir Alcaster. I will not help you until after the princess turns 18. I would remember the sort of aid you have requested of me. What prevents us from killing Gennaro now? A small gasp comes from my mouth, and I am not able to muffle it in time, despite the fact that I hold my hands up to my lips to keep myself from shouting. I stop breathing, even as my mind whirls. Kill the king? Why would Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros want to do that? That sound. Do not try and distract me. What do we lose by acting now? We could lose everything if we act too hastily. I think it would do you good to learn some patience from your son. Varg. Sir Alcaster. Varg, what a pleasant surprise. Mithros smirks as Varg moves to stand just off to the side of the two men, and his expression solemn. I trust you have tamed Fritz. What are you talking about? You have not noticed, even when your own son is being overwhelmed. Varg is gaining control, slowly but surely. He no longer has to wait for Fritz's consciousness to descend into sleep. In a few weeks, perhaps even days, Varg may be able to help us during the day. Then that's why I have only seen Varg at night. If he can act during the day as well, what will happen to Fritz? Sorry, guys. I hope you're not trying to avoid your mission and staying here. How curious. Perhaps Fritz is stronger than you think. That weakling? Don't make me laugh. I just find this extremely boring. Varg shrugs before walking away. How interesting. I do not approve of his methods. What would you have me do to improve him? He completes every task you give him. He has softened. Well, let us see if he completes his task. Then we will know for certain where his loyalties lie. As Sir Mithros and Sir Alcaster begin to walk away, I exhale. I feel a slight shudder when Sir Mithros stops and gazes behind him, his eyes wandering to my hiding place at the end of the hall. My heart thumps loudly in my ears as I wait to hear him leave. The wind has a bitter chill to it tonight. Like ice. Mithros turns on his heels with a slight twitch of his lips before he disappears. He knows, girlie! I make my way back to my room in a daze. My whole body feels weak, and when I eventually get to my bed, I crash down on it, feeling numb. They mean to kill the king, but why? Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros are two of his most trusted advisors. Also, I gotta take a drink. My throat. Ah! What could the king have done to make them desire his death? And why does Sir Mithros want to wait until I'm 18? What happens then? Does this have anything to do with that gift he was talking about? Does Sir Mithros plan on using me for something? I clench my hands into fists and inhale sharply. I think the other things that came up of the other things that came up in conversation. They said that Varg might be able to act during the day soon. Does that mean Fritz will disappear? My breath catches in my throat at the thought. Princess, there is no need to look at me like that. It's my job, you know, Princess. And right now, I know something's not right. It is your job to protect me. Knowing me is a very different thing. Princess, please, perhaps you should worry more about yourself. My job as a knight is to protect my charge, to put their life before mine. If I can't protect you, how can I call myself a knight? Excuse me. Fritz reaches out, as if to touch me, but I shrink away. Do not touch me! Sorry, Princess. Please know I am always here if you need to talk. If Fritz disappears, what will happen? I almost jump when I hear someone shouting just outside my door. Quickly, Melanie! Rod? I quickly stand up and move toward my door, pulling it open to catch a glimpse of the outside. I end up opening the door into Rod's face. He comes to an abrupt stop and glares at the door that blocks a straight path. His hand is outstretched as if he meant to reach for my door. Rod? And Melanie? It's so late. What are they doing out of their rooms? Rod's fingers tighten over Melanie's hand. They both look exhausted and Melanie is on the verge of tears. What is happening? Rod seems to consider something before he finally comes to a silent conclusion. His eyes glare right into mine. Get out of the way. Rod's voice is colder than usual, even for him, and Melanie's eyes widen as he stares at him in shock. Rod, but I thought... This isn't the time. Ah, so here's where the rabbits escaped. Varg? Varg is slowly making his way over to us, his posture relaxed, expression indifferent. He does not even look winded. Well, this is a complication. We're gonna help them. Is this the mission Sir Alcaster was referring to? Rod tugs at Melanie's wrist to prompt her into motion, but the two of them are too slow. In one swift movement, Varg has circled them and tripped Melanie, toppling her to the floor. Varg moves forward to grab her, but before he can so much as touch her, I jump into action, pushing Varg from the side. I move to stand between Melanie and Varg. I can hear Rod helping his sister up, but my eyes are trained on Varg. What are you going to do to them? Why do you care? Why do I care? Because I know this isn't something Fritz would do. Varg hesitates, giving Rod time to act. Rod throws a vial that breaks upon impact with the floor. It releases a cloud of smoke that envelops everything around it. I feel someone's fingers at my wrist, and then I am being dragged away. When my vision clears, I see a Melanie standing before me, holding my wrist tightly. Come on! What was that? It is something Lady Parfait made for our escape. Our escape? Did you really think the Marching gave up on you? We must move. We run toward the palace tunnels, a place I have not visited in many years. I thought they barricaded this. Not quite. Do you think we lost him? No, not yet. Melanie turns to me, her eyebrows drawn over her eyes in a look of sympathy. I'm so sorry you got caught up in this. I know that we were all meant to escape together according to Rod, but we were not expecting it to be like this. It was difficult to get a hold of you without Varg hanging around. But thank you for what you did back there. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't helped us. I am suddenly uncomfortable speaking to her, so I turn to face Rod instead. What does Varg want with you? My best guess is that he wants us dead. That can't be. How else would you explain the way he came after us, Em? But why would he want you dead? Rod's bright eyes seemed fiercer in the darkness of the tunnels. I think it must be what his master wants. After all, dogs only respond to orders. I'm offended, Prince. You! I whirl around, dread rising in my chest as I turn to look at Varg, who is slowly catching up to us. This was meant to be quick. Varg looks at me, his eyes glittering with amusement. But as you always complicate things, Princess. I cannot hide how much I'm trembling, but I still hold out my arm to protect the siblings. Go! Not without you! Go, now! Come on. I turn back to Varg as the two flee. My body tenses as I wait for Varg to move. I will stop him, or at least buy them some more time. But Varg remains still as a statue. He remains rooted to the spot. I have no idea how long we stand there, frozen in place. You never cease to amaze me. So, what's going to happen now? Were you going to kill them? He is not answering. Does that mean I'm right? Is that what Sir Alcaster ordered you to do? Why else would I be here if not for an order? Why would he want you to kill Rod and Melanie? And why does he want to kill the king? You overheard quite a bit, huh? Probably a little more than you should have. The tension in the air becomes palpable, and it becomes harder to breathe. Varg's fingers tighten on his cane. He wouldn't hurt me, would he? Varg moves for a few moments. I am frozen with terror. Then a word I had forgotten long ago suddenly comes to my lips, unbidden. A word that Fritz once told me before. Adieuva! This time, it is Varg that freezes. He raises his cane, but it never comes down. His eyes are wild, even though he hasn't moved. Suddenly, he looks as if he is restraining himself. I can see the struggle on his contorted expression, but then I realize that he is fighting to stay in control. It worked! I remain still for another moment, my mind racing. Varg drops to his knees, and I see the shadows forming beneath him. Tendrils of darkness snake their way up his body, beginning to engulf him. This is what happened the last time when he changed back into Fritz. There is still awareness in Varg's eyes, however. His gaze is cold and accusatory. It remains that way, even as the shadows creeps their way up his face. I find my feet again and rush past Varg into the depths of the palace. I run, too frightened of what I might find if I look back. Are you all right? If you are truly worried for my safety, then you should have told the king how unsafe it is for me to leave the palace. Isn't that a knight's job, Sir Fitzgerald? Do you have so little faith in me? What? Don't you trust me to keep you safe, Princess? 3 years ago, when I swore that I would give my life for yours, I meant it. I still do. I would never let anything harm you, ever. Perhaps I need to make another promise to you, Princess, so that I may ease your worries. Remember this carefully, okay? Adieuva. What does that mean? It's from an old language that no one speaks anymore. It's what people used to say when they were calling for help. Something to call when I need help? If for any reason I'm not there and you need me, just say that word. Scream it at the top of your lungs if you need to. I promise I'll come running. A knight would never break a promise to his lady. Trust in me. I have to go. I have been awake for hours, unable to sleep. I stand at my window, waiting for something, anything to happen, but all is still beyond the glass window pane. I have no idea what I ought to do. You should have run the other way and gone back to the margin, you... What is going to happen now? Should I tell someone? I returned to the palace because my room still feels like the safest place, but... Why? Am I here because I feel I need to tell the king what happened? because I hope that Fritz will return. I do not even know if the king is still here. I haven't seen him at all. My hand instinctively reaches out for my necklace, and I realize there is an additional piece. Hey! I look down, and a small gasp escapes my lips when I notice the new piece of the glass slipper. A new piece of the slipper! But how? What was my good deed? I remember the night I helped Rod and Melanie escape from Varg. That was a good deed? Oh gosh. Fritz! Princess? Fritz? I've been looking for Prince Rod and Princess Melanie. Have you seen them? My eyes are beginning to sting. I am startled when I realize that there are tears burning in my eyes. What's wrong? Varg is gaining control, slowly but surely. He no longer has to wait for Fritz's consciousness to descend into sleep. In a few weeks, perhaps even days, Varg may be able to help us during the day. Can I even trust Fritz now? Fritz looks at me with worry clear on his face. He draws close to me, his hand reaching out for me. Oh God! I pull back immediately, my breath caught in my throat. Princess? For a moment I just saw Varg. What is going on? Will he believe me if I am straightforward? Something's been wrong ever since we returned to the palace. Princess, please, Fritz clenches his hands into fists, his face twists with obvious pain. Please, let me help you. Doubt him. I doubt you can. My chest begins to ache and my heart feels heavy. You'd never believe me. There is a certainty in Fritz's eyes that was not there before. He looks at me with fierce determination. Try me. I sigh and rub my hand over my eyes. You are cursed. His silence is all the response I need. I knew this would happen. I knew he still wouldn't believe me. Princess, we've talked about this before, but what exactly are you seeing that makes you firmly believe that? I eye him warily. Will he really listen to me? You are cursed with an alternate personality, a cruel one. I've known him for months now. Varg, well, you, Fritz, were going to kill Rod and Melanie last night. He reaches out to rest his hand atop mine on the windowsill. His determination was dwindled into uncertainty. You don't believe me? I believe you, Princess. I can see it in your eyes, Fritz. You doubt me. I do not doubt you, Princess. I'm just confused. How could I not know about the existence of an alternate personality or about a curse inflicted on me? I pull my hand away from him and cross to the other side of my room so that my bed acts as a barrier between us. But Varg knows you. How is it possible that Varg is so aware of you when you do not even know he exists? I begin to pace, my emotions whirling. And how am I to trust you when you won't even trust me? I knew you weren't going to believe me. How could I have been so stupid to think that you would? Princess. He begins to move toward me, but I stop him in his tracks with a single glare. Don't! Silence descends upon my room. When I finally look at Fritz again, the man I see is a stranger. Gone is the Fritz that I once knew, and standing in his place is nothing but a shadow. I thought he'd be different. He showed me so much kindness and pretended to care, and yet, Mother was right. Mother was always right. I feel a dull ache in my chest as I turn on my heels to look away from Fritz. This is what happens when you trust in someone. This is what happens when you begin to believe in others. Oh! I gasp when I feel strong arms wrap around me from behind. I can feel Fritz's warm breath against the back of my neck. It sends shivers tumbling down my spine. Let me go, Fritz! No. I order you to let me go! But Fritz only tightens his grip. While the warm embrace is suffocating, it is also oddly comforting. Sorry, Princess, I cannot be ordered to leave you like this. I swore an oath to you and made a promise to myself that I would always stand by your side. No matter how much you push me away, I will always be here for you. From the day I was assigned to you, I saw how much you suffered. That's why I will protect you with everything that I am. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!